Hello everyone, I'm Dalton Burdett.
I'm Nick Iricchio.
And we are the Movie Nights.
Well, some of them.
If you're watching this because you want to hear our uncensored,
unfiltered
thoughts and opinions on the world of movies and entertainment, so kick back,
relax,
and the Movie Nights Roundtable begins now. Another week, another show.
A busy show, too.
A very busy show.
A lot to cover.
And because of that, we're going to go ahead and kick off the movie news section of our show now. What is the movie news section of our show? Well, we dive into the trades and bring you the latest stories coming in the world of movies and give you some insight as to what we feel about those stories. I wish I could speak English better. Nicholas, what do you got for us first?
Our first story comes to us from Deadline. Akiva Goldsman is returning his Weed Road to Warner Brothers in a multi-year first-look deal. And with that news comes some project announcements. We're starting with two projects that are fun and very much Warner's. The sequel to I Am Legend with Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan, and the sequel to Constantine with Keanu Reeves that Francis Lawrence is going to direct. So I'm coming out of the gate fast, says Akiva. We're doing it with J.J. Abrams, and Francis and Keanu and I have been pretty deep in the story-breaking stage.
Yes, so Constantine 2 we heard about a few weeks ago.
But it was kind of rumors at that point.
It was kind of just like an announcement, really.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we're seeing that it's actually getting worked on, especially amid rumors that it may be canceled, and it is not. So that's good to hear. But the more interesting one from this announcement, I think, is the sequel to I Am Legend. Because in the article, it says that this sequel is based on the alternate ending to the movie, which I find fascinating. Because, one, you don't see that, and two, how are they going to market this to the audience? Because if you haven't seen the alternate ending to I Am Legend, it's insanely different than the ending to I Am Legend. So
really?
Yes. So how they're going to play that out is kind of interesting to me. Are they going to re-release I Am Legend with the new ending, like a year or so before, to be like, hey, it's a sequel to this? Or like, well, I wonder how they're going to play that out. Somehow it's going to become a Restore the Snyderverse thing. I know that. But anyways, what are your thoughts on like making a sequel to an alternate ending, and do you think that will have an impact on projects going forward?
Michael B. Jordan, not in the first one.
No.
Okay, that was like a casting announcement saying he's in this. Okay.
Yes.
I really don't have a lot to say on this one because I have not seen I Am Legend. I have not seen I Am Legend's alternate ending, nor have I seen Constantine.
Amazing.
But I think that the concept of following an alternate ending is interesting, and hopefully it works out for audiences, because what we've actually seen lately too is this seems like kind of the next step. Like if you look at the new Halloween trilogy, they were like, nope, sequel to the first one.
Yep.
Like that's it. And I think we've seen that with a few other franchises lately. So it seems like, yeah, why not do an alternate ending? Because cool. And if it sets up, if they have an idea that they think can work with it, because I don't know what the ending is. I don't know if like Will Smith dies or something, and then he doesn't in the alternate ending. I'm not sure.
That's pretty much
kind of.
I mean, there's a story thing too, but that's the big thing. That's going to be different.
Spoiler alert for I Am Legend. I don't know when it came out. That's not the one where he dies with the jellyfish.
No.
What movie is that?
Is that the really M. Night Shyamalan one with his son?
No. Is it 7 pounds?
Maybe. I don't know.
It's not the one where he dies in a bathtub with jellyfish.
No.
Did I make that up? No, that's a movie.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That is a movie.
Maybe it's 7 pounds because I've never seen 7 pounds. But
let me know in the comments. Is that a movie? Will Smith dies in a bathtub of jellyfish. There's no way I could make that up.
I hope to God it's not a movie. I'm really hoping to God that you just fucking dreamt this.
Will Smith.
You're going to look it up now.
Jellyfish. 7 pounds.
Okay, what's 7 pounds?
It's on a Reddit thing for shitty movie details. And it says in the movie 7 pounds, Will Smith's character, Ben Thomas, commits suicide by putting a box jellyfish in a bathtub. However, since box jellyfish are extremely lethal, in order to film the scene, they just put him in a bathtub with a regular jellyfish. Anyway, I mean, I think it's going back to the main story. I think it's interesting to follow up on an alternate ending, and I'm curious to see how they'll actually market it, or just be like, fuck it.
Yeah, they'll figure it out. Because I think it's easier to market like the ignoring sequels.
Yeah,
but you know, we'll see. What do you guys think about I Am Legend making a sequel to the alternate ending of the film, which I think follows the line of the novel more, which I have not read? Let us know in the comments as we move on to our next story. Nicholas, what do you got for us next?
Our next story comes to us from The Hollywood Reporter. Dragons and Vikings are taking to the sky once more, Dalton. Taking a massive swing, which I agree with. Universal Pictures has put in motion a How to Train Your Dragon live-action movie with Dean DeBlois, the filmmaker behind the original animated trilogy, back in the saddle as writer, director, and producer. The feature project is already steps into the development process with a release date of March 14th, 2025, with casting already underway.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. This came out the past few days. The original filmmaker of the How to Train Your Dragon movies, amazing movies, is making a live-action movie. When I hear live-action remake of The Thing, I kind of on the idea. Hearing that the original director's coming back, I feel much better about it. However, I was actually talking to the amazing Morgan Campbell. All hail Morgan Campbell, the amazing Morgan. It's a friend of ours, and he's worked on Quiver. I was talking with him about it, and he said that I would feel better about the news knowing on who approached who. He's like,
That's fair.
He's like, if he went to Universal, I feel really good about it. If Universal went to him, I don't feel good about it. And I was like, you know what? I kind of see exactly what you're saying.
I like that point.
Yeah. But yeah, either way, I think it's interesting. Mm-hmm. I know they're not going to cast Jay Brown-Shaw to play the lead. I think it's Hiccup is his name. Mm-hmm. No. Yeah, Hiccup. I hope they do, though.
I hope we get Gerard Butler as the dad still.
I think that they're going to all make cameos. I think is going to be what's going to end up going down. But I love that vocal performance in those movies from Jay Brown-Shaw. But anyway, what are your thoughts on How to Train Your Dragon live action? And do you think it's a good idea that the old director's coming back?
I think that How to Train Your Dragon is one of the greatest animated trilogies. I think that each movie is better than the last. I think they really kind of shifted. Like, if you watch 1 and 2, I think the direction changes, and tonally and visually, everything is just top tier. And I think that with these live-action remakes, like we've seen Disney doing, they've been very hit or miss. Mm-hmm. And it's not to say that Universal won't put in the time and effort. Mm-hmm. And if, I think a good step is bringing back the original writer, director, producer of the animated movies, but also I think animation is a different beast altogether compared to live action. Mm-hmm. And sometimes directors can't make that jump, mm-hmm. or vice versa. If you go to if you're a live action director going to animation, sometimes it doesn't work. So I'd be very curious about that, and that would be kind of some hesitation for me. I am settled a bit by having him there, but also why not just do How to Train Your Dragon 4?
Yeah, that's fair. That's an astute point.
And if it is a remake or a live action version of it, the first one I feel like didn't come out long enough to justify that. Mm-hmm. And how much of the story are they going to change, or is it just going to be a shot for shot but live action this time? And I don't think I would have an interest in that. I think I'd rather just watch the first one.
But I think you bring up a bunch of great points. Mm-hmm. I'm cautiously optimistic. I have a feel. Mm-hmm. I would love to hear the story of the director jumping to live action features and crushing it. And I hope that's what happens. Obviously, I don't hope the movie fails. And who knows? With how the world works now, maybe they'll do a live action movie and How to Train Your Dragon 4 and just fucking go.
That's what I'm saying.
nuts.
Like, I think if it comes to a live action remake of the first one or a fourth one, I mean, the third one only came out 4 years ago.
Yeah,
I feel like it's very soon for something like this.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll just have to see how it goes. What do you guys think about a live action How to Train Your Dragon movie coming from the original director? Let us know in the comments as we move on to our next story. Nicholas, what do you got for us next?
Next story comes to us from Collider. Speaking of remakes and reboots, after crashing and burning with the David Harbour-led reboot of Hellboy back in 2019, Hellboy is getting another chance to redeem itself. A new live-action film based on the demonic superhero is already written at Millennium Media, with Brian Taylor set to direct. Progress is said to be well along on the reboot, with filming set to begin in Bulgaria in April. So this thing is ready.
Yes. So kind of a surprise that this new Hellboy movie is coming. And I think Discussing Film had the exclusive, and Collider's confirming the report on it. Mm-hmm. Very fun and cool to see. Maybe some type of announcement is imminent from the studio. But the David Harbour Hellboy. So I love David Harbour, right? Think he's great. I love that director. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there's the same director as The Descent, which is a great horror movie.
Okay. I'm not familiar with
I hope that that's right.
I can fact check while you're going.
Thank you. I only was brought joy watching the David Harbour Hellboy movie once. And it's because for no reason, at one point, there's a big action set piece to the song Psycho by Muse. And when that played, I was like, oh, I like this song. That was the only joy I felt during the whole movie.
I loved Thomas Hayden Church as, was it Lobster?
Yeah.
Or whatever the guy's name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the David Harbour director, Neil Marshall, did direct The Descent. I just checked that for you.
Cool. Thank you. Very cool. Who's directing the new one? Did you say Brian?
Brian Taylor.
Yeah.
Would you like to know his credits?
I would.
Crank High Voltage.
Oh, no way.
Gamer. Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. And Mom and Dad, which was a Nick Cage movie as well.
I'm excited for the new Hellboy.
Nick Cage and Hellboy?
Oh, I hope so. But, dude, Ghost Rider 2, so bad. You got to watch it. I like Crank and Crank 2. I'll say that. Those are fun
Don't
movies.
you like Gamer?
I've never seen it.
Ah.
Yeah. I think one of us likes Gamer. Anthony. For some reason, Gamer just, my brain went to Anthony. But we'll.
That's not the one with, what's the one with Gerard Butler with the carrot?
That's him.
That's Gamer.
Yeah.
With the carrot scene action?
No. Carrot scene in action is Shoot 'em Up with Clive Owen.
Ah, that's what I was thinking of. Never mind.
Mhm,
I was confusing them.
And I do love that film.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so listen, new Hellboy movie coming from the Crank director. I'm in. Are you in?
No.
No? What for?
Because Guillermo del Toro did it so well.
That's true.
And then David Harbour did. It's also, what a quick turnaround from the David Harbour one. That one was, 2019?
Yeah.
They're like, fuck it, try it again.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Again.
Run it back. Double the Hellboy.
You know what? Mulligan.
You get one mulligan per franchise. Yeah, I don't know. I think that I'd be curious what they're adapting, because I know the Hellboy comics are very good and very popular, and I know that the David Harbour one didn't really adapt much of it outside of the characters. Mm-hmm. So I think they kind of might need to scale back a bit and just do a live action version of a famous graphic novel of it.
Yeah.
And go from there. I think I could see working very well.
Yeah, probably. We'll have to see how it goes.
I wonder who you cast too.
That's going to be interesting.
Because honestly, both the castings for Hellboy I think were solid.
Like David Harbour was a good choice, casting.
And if he had something to work with.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah. What do you guys think about the new Hellboy movie in the works? Let us know as we move on to our next story. Nicholas, what you got for us next?
Our next story comes to us from The Hollywood Reporter. Disney's making some moves on its release date calendar, Dalton.
Oh.
It has pushed Marvel Studios' The Marvels out of summer and into the fall. The Marvels, starring Brie Larson, will now open November 10th, pushed back from its previous July 28th date. In a twinned move, the theme park-based Haunted Mansion is jumping into the July 28th spot, shifting from August 11th.
So yes, this comes off the heels of comments from Kevin Feige, who was recently talking about how Marvel in Phase 5 and 6 and beyond, they're going to start spacing out when their projects come out. He was specifically talking about TV shows at the time, but now with this move, this clearly applies to films as well. And one, this is a fantastic idea, because love or hate Phase 4, everyone agrees, too much, too quickly, holy shit, right? Like, that was kind of what was going on. And it's hard to determine who made that call, because I know that there's been some reporting that it was a Chapek call of, like, you have to hit a quota per year of, like, what you release theatrically and on Disney+. With Iger coming back, is that different? We don't know. Maybe Iger made that plan originally. We'll have to see. But regardless, Haunted Mansion taking that date, I think it's just a good idea, because it's like, hey, we have a spot. We have this date open. What do we got? Do you think that'll be ready? Great. Let's move it there. You know, we're not going to be getting it around Halloween anymore, but at least if it's a good movie and it's ready, why not release it in the summer? So I think that's a perfectly fine move. The Marvels, we were wondering why we didn't get a trailer at the Super Bowl and everything. It turns out just because, they're going to delay it to November. They did release a poster, and I love the poster.
It's a very good poster.
I think it's a great poster. Looking forward to the movie.
With Nia DaCosta directing, who did Candyman.
Yes, yeah. And I think that spreading them out and moving Marvels to November is a good idea. I think we're going to hear about some shows that were previously slated for 2023 be delayed into 24 and beyond. And I think this is nothing but great news. Yeah. And I think that if they have to delay some of the Avengers and those movies down the line to space things out more, I'm perfectly fine with that. And Kevin Feige also mentioned that they're going to be making shows that can only be shows, movies that can only be movies going forward. I think this is a sign of good things to come. What do you think?
I think so too. I think something that I'd like to see is, I would love to see just a quarterly release from Marvel. So like this year we're getting 3 we were going to get 3 movies, we were going to get 3 TV shows. That's now shifted to 3 movies and 2 TV shows.
Yeah.
I would love it just quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, alternate. Give me a movie, TV show, movie, TV show,
like
or
that.
whatever you want to fill in. Because I think post Endgame, like most of Phase 4, I think personally there's been a little bit of a dip in quality with some standouts. Like I love Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
But part of the issues that I think I've been having are I feel like every script needs like 2 or 3 more drafts. And I think they need more time to better develop the effects work.
Yes,
and
big time.
I think that the movies need to stop using the volume personally.
Or just use it better.
Yeah.
Get people who know how to use it.
Well, because I think lately they've been just using it as an oversized green screen.
They've been using it to make production cheaper.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that you notice that dip. And I think also the concept is there for the volume. I think the quality suits better for TV because you write it off as, oh, it's a TV show. And I think when you see it in the movies, you're like, what am I watching?
Well, that, and they seem to be obsessed with using the volume for wide shots.
Yeah.
When I think the volume works better close up.
Go on.
As like the faded background.
Oh, okay.
You know, like, or the out of focus background, I should say. I think with the volume works beautifully. Because like in the cockpits, when they do Mandalorian in the X-Wings, the cockpit volume stuff looks perfect. Like flawless.
When you're looking at the stars out the window.
But because you have something in frame and it's stuff behind you.
And they've also actually built the ship.
Yes, exactly. Whereas how they've been using volume is it's a lot of sand. It's real sand with some props and then the volume, and it's wide. And you can tell from how it's designed.
The composition,
the
lighting.
And it's like, okay, something feels off here. Whereas with traditional green screen, you can manipulate it, CG blend, and do that kind of stuff. And I think that if you're going to using the tool, it doesn't mean should or shouldn't. I think just use the tool better, and I think you can still create great things.
Okay.
But yes.
So I think that, and just I think again the VFX work just overall outside of the volume, some of the script, I think just everything needs a little more time to breathe and be developed more instead of production. So I think I would even like to see just, again, 2 movies and 2 TV shows a year.
I would love that.
Moving forward, because, I mean, obviously we love the Marvel franchise, but I also want quality. I want them to be good for me, not just, not give me more, but give me shit.
Yeah, especially because people, ever since I remember the conversations about this happening after the first Avengers movie, so for over like 10 years now, people I've always said like, oh, superhero fatigue. That's really not a thing. What is a thing is bad movie fatigue. Because everyone compares it to the Western.
Yeah.
The reason the Western died is because they stopped being good. And there were too many bad ones in a row. Right? Why haven't superhero movies stopped making money? Because they've been good. But that is starting to change.
Yeah.
And I think Marvel's smart, and they realize, like, we're on top of the world, and if we want to stay on top of the world, we got to keep putting out content that's amazing. Movies that are amazing. We have to keep putting out movies that are amazing. Or else, if we get 3 bad projects in a row, people are suddenly looking at us differently.
Yeah.
And I think this comes at a great time, because with James Gunn and DC, if he knocks it out of the park, it's just going to save this genre to keep going for longer and longer.
And they're actually trying to do something different, allegedly, like genre-wise, instead of just saying they're different genres,
exactly,
like they
said.
And what I think, too, is that I hope it doesn't become a thing, and I hope that we do see this change after pushing things and giving them more time to rework and stuff. I hope we see that, because I really hope that, and I think Kevin Feige's a fantastic producer, I hope he's not just like, who gives a shit? Because when we get to Secret Wars and they see Hugh Jackman and Tobey Maguire in the same shot, they're going to forgive me. I hope it doesn't become that.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Then that just is revolving.
Because then when we get there, we don't care.
Exactly.
And the whole reason why Infinity War Endgame worked is because they made us care every step of the way getting there.
Yes.
Those movies do not work if we don't give a shit.
To be clear, the Hugh Jackman Tobey Maguire was a hypothetical.
Yes.
We're not reporting anything.
Yes.
There was nothing.
Am I going to save this clip when Secret Wars comes out, and if that happens, and say that we called it?
Yeah,
sure.
but you know what I mean?
But it's not a scoop.
I hope he's not building up to something big and just being like, they won't care. If I pull this off, they won't care about what I gave beforehand.
Yeah.
Because I do care, and I think that there's interesting characters and interesting stories to be had with these characters. I just feel like they're not giving them the projects to service them.
I agree. I agree completely.
Now, speaking also on this subject, though, do you, outside of Marvel, but in the story, Haunted Mansion, are you aware of this project?
I'm aware, but it has a killer cast, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I was about to get into.
Please enlighten
You ready
everyone.
for this?
Oh, yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis, who's playing Madame Leota. Yes. Owen Wilson, Winona Ryder, Rosario Dawson, Danny DeVito, Lakeith Stanfield, Dan Levy, Tiffany Haddish. And guys, they're doing the Hatbox Ghost.
Yep.
It's Jared Leto.
Yep.
Disney's really latching on to Jared Leto, huh? They're like Tron, and the thing is, I could see that working.
Yeah. That's probably exactly... Look at me. When they were in the boardrooms and someone said Jared Leto, like 6 executives sighed, and then one whispered, I can kind of see that working. That's exactly what happened.
Well, that's the role I want Jared Leto to be. Stop making him the main star. I don't want Jared Leto. I want him to be weird in the corner of things, and that's exactly what the Hatbox Ghost is. I don't care about Tron Ares. I don't want to watch another Jared Leto-led movie. But him as the Hatbox Ghost doing something wild, give me that.
Yes, absolutely.
Holy shit. What a cast.
I'm really glad you went on that tangent. That was great. Oh, my God. So what do you guys think of Marvel shifting release dates, Disney shifting release dates, and you know what? Fuck it. What do you think about that Haunted Mansion cast? I want to hear about it as we move on to the next section of our show, which is the B-roll. Well, what's the B-roll? It's sort of an extension of the movie news section of our show, except we dive into some topics we didn't have time to really dive into and discuss, but we wanted to bring you the headlines so you're still informed as to what's going on. Nick, what's first on the B-roll?
First story comes to us from Deadline. Ahead of the South by Southwest world premiere and the March 31st opening of Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, Paramount Pictures has closed a multi-year first-look deal with the film's directors John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein. Now, for people who may not be familiar with just the names on the back, they were 2 of the 8 writers on Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
They wrote and directed Game Night with Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams, which is
movie.
Fucking hysterical.
Yep.
And they were set to direct Flash and write Flash at one point. I think they were the 3rd directors out of 8.
One of the many.
Yeah. And Dungeons & Dragons looks incredible. As a D&D player as well, I think it looks great, and I'm super excited for it, and I think they need more work.
Absolutely, yes.
Next story comes to us also from Deadline. John Madden's series Huddle. The career of John Madden will be the subject of a limited series to be directed by Gavin O'Connor, who did The Accountant, which we love and no one else does.
Warrior, The Accountant, Miracle, The Way Back. He's a great filmmaker.
In the Huddle on the telling the life story of the Hall of Fame Raiders head coach, groundbreaking broadcaster, and video game icon are Todd Lieberman's Hidden Pictures, Lit Entertainment Group's Adam Kohlrenner, Religion of Sports Gotham Chopra, Ryan Stowell, and Tom Brady's 199 production. So another Tom Brady production.
Tom Brady.
Next story comes to us from The Hollywood Reporter. Well, as we know, Dean Fleischer Camp, who directed Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which is getting Oscar acclaim this year, his next project is a Disney Plus movie, a live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch.
Yes.
Well, they've started casting, and we have our first star attached to it in Zach Galifianakis.
Fuck yeah.
Now, The Hollywood Reporter did not say who he will be playing, but The Wrap reported exclusively that he will be playing Pleakley, these Jumba's sidekick scientist.
Yes.
I personally think it should have been Jim Rash, who played the Dean on Community.
Yes.
But sure, Zach Galifianakis, why not?
Yes, why not?
Our next story comes to us from Deadline. Speaking of multi-look first look deals, Warner Brothers has inked a multi-year first look deal directing and producing agreement with 2-time Oscar-nominated filmmaker M. Night Shyamalan, whose most recent movie saw his 7th #1 opening at the box office.
Yes.
Warner Brothers is really on a roll here with
trying
building
to win
their
back
relationships
filmmakers
there, and
yep.
I respect them.
I do too.
For that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have this one's a fun one here from our favorite scooper, Jeff Snyder.
Yes.
He's saying Robert Pattinson's Batman will appear in the Penguin series.
Good.
It's about time we get some more Pattinson.
Yes.
Another thing, a unrated cut of Megan is coming to Peacock on February 24th. I'm interested to see that because one of my main issues with Megan was the PG-13 rating, so I'm hoping maybe an R rating can persuade me the other way. What are your thoughts?
I agree, and it's coming to 4K after it hits Peacock.
And our last B-roll story comes to us from Deadline. Emma Corrin, who recently got claim on the show The Crown, has joined the cast of Deadpool 3 along with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. And reports are saying that they will be playing the villain.
That sounds awesome.
Yes.
I haven't really seen anything with them in it, but I've heard that they're great.
Yes.
And anything involving Deadpool is great for me, so I'm excited to hear the news.
I am very excited. And that's it for the B-roll, folks.
I wanted to give you a moment to bask in the quickness in which you just delivered that. Good job.
Was that too fast?
Too furious. Dude, do you know how I never get the opportunity to do that? Thank you so much.
We have fun here.
Oh, God. I'm shutting it down. We're never doing another episode. Oh, my God.
Well, now it's time for Dalton's favorite part of the show.
Yes, now we move on to the box office.
The box office
section of our show, where we break down the top 5 box office of last weekend. Now, again, these are just the Sunday estimates. I will put the final Monday numbers in the description below. Do you mind pulling up our predictions from last week?
I already got them up, my friend.
Oh, look at this fucking guy. Go for it. What we have.
Dalton, you had Ant-Man coming in as number 1, a bold choice. You had then Magic Mike, Avatar, 80 for Brady, and Knock at the Cabin. I had Ant-Man, Avatar, Magic Mike, 80 for Brady, and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which we'll get into.
Yes. So we were both wrong. We both had some...
What? We were both wrong?
Yeah, can you believe that? We both had some stuff in there, though. So here's what went down. Number 1, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which on the 3-day weekend is estimated to make $104 million.
Okay.
Second place, Avatar: The Way of Water.
God damn it.
Making $6.1 million. Coming in third, only dropping 33%, but it also got released into more theaters. Magic Mike's Last Dance, making another $5.5 million. Coming in fourth, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, dropping 6%, making another $5.2 million. And coming in fifth, staying in there, Knock at the Cabin, making $3.9 million, only dropping 28% from week 2 to week 3. 80 for Brady, just missed it in the 6th spot.
And how did Winnie the Pooh do?
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey made $679,000.
Oh, bother.
Okay.
Wait, fuck. We looked up the production for that.
Yeah.
That made money.
Oh, dude, you want to know how much it made worldwide?
How much?
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, so far worldwide has $2.5 million. That's what happens when you make a meme, bro.
It's not even a meme.
But the idea of it was a meme.
We'll get into that during our review.
Yes, we will. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania so far worldwide has made $225 million, and I believe it was on a budget of around $200. Let me confirm that. I would assume that Ant-Man 3 has a budget of around $200 million.
That
so right
probably
now,
makes sense, yeah.
So right now it's hit its production budget back. It's going to make about 2.5 more, so maybe around 500 before it starts being profitable.
Okay.
But I think we'll get there.
How high do you think it'll get? You think it'll reach like multiverse numbers?
No. I think it'll be maybe around Thor 4. Maybe a little bit.
Like 600?
700.
700?
Yeah.
Okay.
Around there.
Man, they really haven't reached that billion in a minute, have they? Wakanda?
No.
Wakanda didn't?
Mm-mm.
No.
Nope.
I feel like that just farther proves into the decline.
Yep.
These movies would make $1 billion easy.
Yeah, but also...
But Spider-Man?
Also, none of them got China releases.
Oh, that's
except for... One just did. I don't remember which one. But, not a lot of them get China releases. This past year, because China got really strict with what they bring in. Spider-Man made almost $2 billion.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Avatar: The Way of Water, now $2.2 billion. And it repassed Titanic to be the 3rd biggest movie of all time. Go, James Cameron.
Beating himself again and again and again.
Magic Mike's Last Dance worldwide has made $37 million so far, which is pretty good. We said the budget last week, but I forgot what it was. $45 million. So we're getting there. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish now worldwide has $422 million. Good for that movie. I'm gonna as soon as it comes on Peacock, I'm gonna watch it.
Is that where it's coming?
I mean, Universal, I assume so.
Oh, true, yeah.
And Knock at the Cabin has made $47 million worldwide, and that budget was pretty low. So I think that's going to be on its way to making money very soon. yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is the top 5 box office for you. And yeah, the only thing I was right about was Titanic taking a drop after Valentine's Day, and it did.
Mm-hmm. And Ant-Man being number 1.
Yeah. By the way, there's a new Liam Neeson movie out.
Go on.
It's called Marlowe.
Okay.
It's only made $2 million, but it looks like a period piece with Liam Neeson. Here's the synopsis. Set in the late 1930s LA, Marlowe centers around a streetwise down-in-his-luck detective, Philip Marlowe, who I believe is Liam Neeson, who is hired to find the ex-lover of a glamorous heiress, daughter of a well-known movie star. The disappearance unearths a web of lies, and soon Marlowe is involved in a dangerous, deadly investigation where everyone involved has something to hide.
Yes.
It's playing at the local theater if you want to go see it sometime. We tend to go to those Liam Neeson things all the time.
Because they're all fucking great. When he stops delivering, I'll stop going.
That's fair, bro.
He better be in Ship.
I still haven't seen Plane. Oh, I need to see Plane. Goddamn. Anyway, that will do it for the box office section of our show. And now we're going to move on to the movie review section of our show. And boy, oh fucking boy, are you guys in luck. We have 2 movie reviews for you today.
2 reviews?
You've been waiting to do that, haven't you?
The whole week.
The first review we're going to do is for a small little movie called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Now, you're probably familiar with this film. The trailer went kind of viral. It was a horror movie involving Winnie the Pooh, only made possible due to it becoming public domain.
Yes.
Now, I'll start with this. I have a love of film and filmmaking. Making a movie is one of the hardest things you can do in the universe. And this movie had a very low budget. And so the fact that a bunch of people came together and made a movie for a low budget and it made $2 million at the box office, I think is a beautiful thing. And I love that. And I wish all of them success in the future. With that being said, wow, this movie's bad. It's so bad. It's not even bad good. It's just bad. My mic fucked off.
There's like 1 or 2 moments in it where you're like, all right, that's kind of entertaining.
Yeah.
But like for the most, you're just like, what's happening?
Yeah, like and it took itself way too seriously. I feel like we could have had a chance to have like a really fun, funny,
meme, campiness,
self-aware movie, and the movie doesn't even come across as self-aware.
No.
And the shot construction was poor, the writing was poor, the editing was poor. If we come out of a movie and the first thing Hannah says is that was edited very poorly, it was edited poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that nothing worked.
No.
Like nothing about the film worked.
There was no motivation.
Every moment of laughter came from unintentional.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like there were a couple intentional laughs. There were moments of self-awareness in the movie, but the entirety of the film did not feel self-aware.
No.
The main character has no arc. They do nothing, which leads to a meaningless backstory. And the thing that sucks the most is that this idea is now wasted on this movie.
Mm-hmm.
This Winnie the Pooh horror movie. Because if anyone tries it in the future, it's just going to be like, oh, well, we know how that turned out last time, you know? And I know that this director, this filmmaker, had a lot of plans to go on and do like a Peter Pan horror movie and all this stuff. If you're going to do that, which he might because he made money on this movie.
This is the backing, yeah.
Please just make it good. And I'll go see it. And I believe in you. Like, you know, you got the money, you made the movie. Wasn't great. If at first you don't succeed, try
they
again.
can afford a second light.
Oof. But yeah, your thoughts on Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey?
I mean, yeah, pretty much what you said. You know, given the trailer and the concept, you're expecting memes, campiness. You know it's not going to be good going in, even based off the trailer. But I was at least expecting some entertainment because a movie can be bad and still be very enjoyable.
And I expected it to at least be competently made, and it was not.
No.
Like on any level. Even the sound mixing was bad.
And I think that it was disappointing because of that. I think you're just left with this kind of low budget dumpster fire that just you're waiting to fizzle out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, thank God it was an hour and 20 minutes because I don't think I could have gone any longer with it. I think some of the sets were actually pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Like the 100 Acre Wood set, like the wood caverns and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that was cool. But like if that's where your budget went, I think I would have preferred it to go to buying a song instead of like free tunes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't. It didn't work.
They
took a swing. What?
I was just gonna say, like, it didn't work. Yeah.
It didn't work, but it did work because it made money. But I think
the idea made money.
The idea made money.
Yeah.
And I hope that it's a shame, like you said, that we got it kind of wasted on this, because the Winnie the Pooh horror movie is very funny. I'm interested. I want to research kind of the licensing stuff about it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what's off limits because of what Disney's done with the character.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, I'd be very interested to know what aspects of that, because it's just Pooh and Piglet in this. There's not...
And for viewers wondering, like, what we mean, the public domain law is very strict when it comes to previous adaptations. Like, for example, Wizard of Oz is public domain. Anyone can make a Wizard of Oz movie, but what you can't do is have the red slippers, because Disney did that in their adaptation, and that itself is copyrighted only to Disney.
Yeah.
But the original source material, Wizard of Oz, is public domain for you to adapt. So anything not in that source material that someone else used, you can't. So I'm curious, because I also don't know the original Winnie the Pooh source material either. So I'd have to like go figure that out. But yeah.
Because that's like, even with like the Lord of the Rings TV show that just came out, they had to adapt the books. They could not take anything from the movies. So I'd be interested to know what kind of parameters. I don't think that gives them any leeway on my end. I would just be curious for my own knowledge.
Yeah.
And then what they did, like, can now no one do a Winnie the Pooh horror movie?
Yeah.
Like, I'd be curious about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'd be curious to look into that too.
Long story short, don't bother.
Yes. Can I steal your line?
Yeah.
Oh, bother. Don't bother.
Yeah.
I liked that one. I like that one a lot.
Thank you.
But yeah, unfortunately, did not enjoy it. It is not a recommend.
Not a recommend.
No, not at all. For this next movie review, some of you are going to be wondering, wow, I feel like I saw this on YouTube yesterday. You did. We clipped it out early. Time traveling and editing. Woo. Yay. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Ooh.
Before we get into it, though, I want to say, this is a spoiler review.
Spoiler review.
Full spoiler reviews. If you have not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, do not watch this. Jeff.
Save it to your watch later, though.
Dad, I'm looking at you. He tends to watch the spoiler reviews anyway.
Why?
I don't know.
Jeff, don't do it.
Anyways, full spoilers. Last warning. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It was good.
It was good.
It was good.
It was fine.
I think the negative reviews are a bit harsh. Also, just knowing how Rotten Tomatoes works. Like, it's not as negative as it seems, one. Two, I'm almost glad the reviews came out negative, because the people lowered their expectations and went into the movie and came out like, it's not that bad. Or ways, I think if this would have opened to like a 90, people would have come in and been like, that was fucking terrible, you know? So, but anyway, in the actual specifics of the movie, things I loved. Jonathan Majors as Kang.
Yes.
Loved it. Loved the Kang character and the little backstory they gave to this version of Kang the Conqueror. I loved Paul Rudd. Always loved Paul Rudd. Michelle Pfeiffer got more stuff to do. Always welcome. She was excellent. I love the art direction of the quantum realm and just that world in general. It was very Star Wars-esque, and it felt like very like a science fiction movie within that world that I enjoyed.
I saw a tweet. Someone said Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania reminds me of Dune, Star Wars, and Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and Spy Kids 3D, and I don't know if I like that or not.
That is such an accurate description. Holy crap. But yeah, so I liked all of that.
Okay.
And there's some action sequences I enjoyed. Overall, I like the movie. Things I didn't enjoy, because it's very much mixed bag, lower tier MCU. For sure. Things that I didn't enjoy, I feel like I didn't live in a scene. It just kept moving and moving and moving and moving. Well, for some movies, I think that works. Like, I like Doctor Strange a lot more than you do, the second one.
Yeah.
And I think that type of pacing worked for that movie. I don't feel it worked for this movie, because a lot of the Ant-Man movies relied on living in scenes with these characters.
Yeah.
And you really doesn't.
So for some context, since we're doing a spoiler one,
Yeah.
When they first get to the quantum realm, which is the
Early.
first 10 minutes,
Yeah.
they're like, fucking get them there.
Yeah.
It cuts like 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, because the gang gets split up.
Yeah.
So you focus on Janet Van Dyne, Hank Pym, and
Hope
Van Dyne. And Ant-Man and Cassie. But you very easily could have let those scenes play out for like 10-15 minutes at a time, and as an audience member you realize that these scenes are happening concurrently, and that would have been fine. But instead it's like, we need to make sure they know that this is happening at the same time, and it didn't allow you a moment to breathe. That would have been okay if they weren't introducing so many new ideas and things to get accustomed to. Like, they introduced this whole new side of the quantum realm. They introduced brand new characters from the quantum realm. And since I didn't get a minute to live and know these people, when they're paying off emotional moments at the end, I didn't feel it, because I'm just like, I just met this person, like I didn't live or feel with this person. There's one moment in the movie that was a very lived-in scene that I loved, and it's when Ant-Man teaches Cassie how to do the move. Oh yeah, the pop and jump.
Like, more moments like that, where there's a lot going on, but like, let's take a moment and let's be with these characters and see something. Needed more of that, the movie overall. There's some script issues that I didn't love, but I don't know if a lot was cut out or if it was made in this way. Since this guy's writing Kang Dynasty, I feel like maybe a lot was just cut out. Okay. But we'll see. I've always said take the writer's benefit of the doubt, because you never know. Like, the Last of Us guy, the stuff he made previously, you never know how it was on paper. You never know how it was on paper.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. But
I'm confident.
I think that movie is gonna have a lot of studio oversight on it, which I think is important.
Yeah, but
in this instance,
But regardless, I feel like, and our good friend Ben Lamro, who does the Rec Room podcast, he said this, and I fully agree. I feel like not enough was established to make Kang the new big baddie of the MCU, other than how good Jonathan Majors is.
Well, because then at the end of it, he gets taken down by ants.
He gets taken down by ants and Ant-Man, and like, nobody dies.
Yeah. Like, and it's like, I want to establish this.
Yeah, and I was worried for Scott for a minute there. He was beating that boy's ass. But like, not saying you have to kill Ant-Man or you have to do this. There almost felt like there was no real consequence, other than there's more Kangs coming, right? Because the Kang Dynasty.
Because even at the end they get out. Yeah. Which I disagree with.
Yeah. So, there are some instances there. Like I said, overall I enjoyed the movie. I think it's a perfectly fine movie. It just did a bunch of little things that I think were preventing it from being a great movie. Kept happening. And I also think that our friend Harry, who we saw the movie with, had a theory about what's going on with Kang the Conqueror, because I don't think that version of Kang is dead. Okay. And especially just because I don't want this version to be dead, because I really like this version. But we'll see. But he had a theory where, because in the movie they kind of take basically extra subatomic after the quantum realm, him and his ship's core, like, almost just disappear. Yeah. And our friend Harry had a theory that wherever they end up in like another dimension or whatever, that multiplier that Ant-Man had to go through, where himself was just being multiplied, the probability storm, that Kang is in one of those, and a bunch of Kangs are being born, and they're going to find a way to get out and escape, and it's just a bunch of that version of Kang. That's a great theory, and I would love to see that happen. Speaking of the probability storm, that was one of my favorite moments in the movie, and I've seen a lot of people give it pushback, saying it was cheesy. I almost got chills with all the other Scotts helping Scott. I thought it was a great scene, personally.
I think it did a great job of establishing that, like, the one Cassie, that is Ant-Man's only motivation. And I think that worked well. I think it was a little cheesy, but I bought into it. I would equate it to like the scine in Homecoming when he's like, come on, Spider-Man, and you're like, cool, I get it, it makes sense, but
but I personally really like I like the sequence.
I mean, I think the best 20-minute chunk of this movie is when you have 3 scenes that they actually let you sit in, and it starts when Janet is explaining to Hank and Hope who Kang is. Like, that whole sequence of Janet and Kang in the quantum realm was fantastic. I would have watched 2 hours of that.
I agree.
And then that immediately then goes into Kang interrogating Ant-Man and Cassie. And that is a great scene. And then that immediately cuts to the probability. So, like, that 20-minute chunk, I was like, this is the movie I've kind of wanted. Like, I want this bleak kind of oh shit, like that was the only time I felt stakes in the movie.
Yeah,
personally.
I agree. Yeah. The stakes were a bit well done in the movie, but I did feel them for the most part.
I think pros also, I didn't like the book ending of the voiceover with Ant-Man going about. I think some of it worked, but I think the ending dragged on too long of like we defeated him, right? You saw that.
Yeah,
like,
I thought that was kind of silly.
Like that kind of kept going too long.
Uh-huh.
And I think that the whole rebellion resistance storyline is interesting.
Yeah.
But we didn't get enough. I saw the movie twice before this review.
Yeah.
And there's the three or four main resistance fighters. There's the telepath, there's the main warrior girl, and then there's the alien, the two aliens with like the beam and the goo guy. I could not tell you a single one of their names. Yeah.
And like honestly, had they come out with like a Quantum Realm show before this movie where we got to know all these people, I'd feel differently about how it was, right?
I think a 6-episode Janet show in the Quantum Realm.
That would have been sick as fuck.
Where you can introduce like Bill Murray's character, you can introduce these resistance fire, and then you go into the movie knowing them. Yeah. I think is
There's two more things I want to touch upon in the movie. One was Catherine Newton. I thought she was fine. There are some parts where
I think she's a great actress. I love everything she's been in.
I agree. Yeah. I fully agree. She's amazing and freaky. I didn't love her performance in the movie, but I think it's partially because of what she was given. And I think like when we see her interact with like Haley Steinfeld and Florence Pugh, like I feel like that's going to really shine. Yeah. I still feel bad for the Endgame actress a lot, but Catherine Newton did what she could.
You know what kind of bothered me about the character, though?
What's that?
Two things. One, and it kind of goes into every character that can shrink and grow. Because the quantum realm is so big and also so microscopic, whenever they were shrinking and growing, I didn't feel any scale.
True.
Like, the shots looked just like regular people to me. And two, whenever she would jump into someone in tiny form, she would bounce off, which is just not how Ant-Man works.
Yeah.
And that was I know that's a little detail and it happens like twice, but they make a point to show you her jumping into someone and knocking it. And that's just not how the dynamics of Ant-Man works when he's shrunk down. Yeah. And that kind of, I was like...
Just kind of thrown off by it.
Yeah, and I get like when Ant-Man does it, he's a 40-year-old guy punching with the force of a 40-year-old guy that big, and she's a teenage girl. Yeah. But I feel like even still, it should have been like a shoulder. Like, the person should have been like...
moved a bit, yeah. You know, I gotcha. That makes sense. Now let's talk about MODOK.
Let's talk about the MODOK of it all. Everyone is hating him online. Gotta
say.
Best character.
I loved MODOK in the movie. Well, and it's because, you said it beforehand, either they go 100%, this is terrifying figure, you disform his face, you make it a body horror, this guy's coming to kill you type thing, or you make it self-aware and funny. And they went the self-aware and funny route, and I think it worked. The only thing that didn't work is the little redemption arc they do for him at the end. I didn't enjoy. Now, his final line is hilarious.
Are you referring to the scene where he basically destroys, like, Kang's shield?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, look at me. I'm a dick.
Yeah. It was funny, but that, story-wise, I didn't buy that change happening. I mean, you could have built it up because of how Kang was treating him in the movie.
But they only show, like, one instance of Kang treating him like that.
Exactly. And, like... I loved seeing MODOK in a Marvel movie. I totally understand why they killed MODOK because you can't do this all the time.
I like the adaptation of making it Darren Cross. Yeah. Because I see what they were going with the Cassie storyline. Because Cassie's really the one who fights him the most.
Yeah. And yes.
And I get that. And it worked. But overall, it didn't. It worked. Yeah.
Yes.
His final line at the end was so good. Yeah. No, he worked well for me. Yeah. And the effects weren't as jarring as I was expecting it to be.
Yeah. And like for those complaining about that, how else was it supposed to look like unless you're going to go a different direction with him where it wasn't funny? Yeah. Like how else are you going to
If it wasn't funny, he would have been in the mask the whole time, I think. And you would have gotten like a Darth Vader shot at the end where you see like like deformed.
Yeah. But I don't know. It worked for me personally. I loved MODOK.
No, I think there's a lot of positives in the like MODOK, Kang, Janet. I think a big disappointment for me also was Wasp in it.
Yeah, Wasp didn't really have much to do.
No, and I get, she's in the title. She was in the title of the first one, and that would have been a shitstorm if they took her out of the title. But like every time it would cut to her, I was like, oh yeah, she's in this. Yeah. Like I feel like she didn't have an arc in the movie.
Yeah, she got shafted.
Like she was just there to be in scenes with her parents.
Yeah, and you made the joke of like, I think Wasp in this title is talking about Janet.
Yeah.
Of Ant-Man and the Wasp, but yeah.
Honestly, I think they could have just got away with calling the movie Quantumania.
Fair, for sure. But yeah, no, it set up a lot that I'm excited for, but I do think there could have been more stakes. I wish I could have lived in a scene. This movie should have been an 8-episode show or cut out some of the new stuff and live in the scenes more. But yeah, I still enjoyed the movie overall.
I do too. I think it is my least favorite of the Ant-Man movies.
I think so too. I might like it more than the second Ant-Man movie, but we got
like marginally so kind of thing.
Yeah, but I haven't seen Ant-Man 2 in a long time. Yeah. I want to rewatch Ant-Man 2 before I made that call because I like Wasp and Ant-Man 2 a lot.
Now, can I ask you something? Because there's something we disagree with about the movie.
Okay.
So one of my, I would say, almost top 5 favorite MCU characters is Hank Pym.
Yes.
I love Hank Pym so much. What did you think of the ants at the end?
I just didn't think it was set up good enough to buy that happening.
Okay.
Because, yes, they touch upon, oh, look, they built this themselves and they did that.
For spoiler content, we're referring to the army of super intelligent society ants that Hank Pym lets loose in the quantum realm.
Now, on paper, I understand, that them being one of the only things that can beat Kang, because Kang isn't ready for giant ants.
Yeah.
I get that. But at the same time, the ants being the thing that defeat Kang just took, I think, cred away from our characters. If they helped out in a certain way, maybe they needed a weapon, and the ants could have built the weapon for our things to use, our characters to use, I think that would have been slightly different.
I think they were used to level the playing field because without it, you don't get the fist fight with Kang and Ant-Man at the end because his technology needs to be destroyed by these ants.
Yeah, and I feel like there was just a better way to have one of our characters destroy that technology. Because they were setting up early that Cassie's super intelligent.
Yeah.
Because, she's a new young character in the MCU. They all have to be scientists and geniuses. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, they're going to set up where she's going to figure out how to, disable Kang's stuff, and then...
That almost feels like what the MODOK redemption arc should have been, is him, knowing how to shut it down.
I would have enjoyed that more, yeah.
That being said, I love... all of Hank Pym's rhymes was just what? I like ants. Get off my case about it.
Yeah, that was funny.
And then him just coming in with that. And I think Hank Pym, I still stand by, is one of the most dangerous people in the MCU.
He is.
Even the What If episode shows you literally how dangerous he is.
Yeah, big time.
Overall recommend personally.
Oh yeah, no, I recommend for sure.
But I think there's a lot of good, and with that comes a lot of bad as well.
And with that being said, amped for Secret Invasion, amped for Guardians 3, big time.
Amped for Loki. We got a Loki tease too.
Yes, we did. Yes, amped for the 2023 projects. Yeah. Big time.
I'm excited for the rest of it. I think that this was, personally for me, not being a fan of Thor: Love and Thunder and not being a big fan of Multiverse of Madness, I did enjoy Wakanda Forever. Mm-hmm. I did enjoy this, and I think that hopefully that trend continues. I think Guardians 3 looks incredible.
Yeah. Oh, it does.
Personally.
Yeah. I'd say, and this is early, I reserve the right to change my answer in my mind. Right now, I like it more than Thor 4. I don't like it as much as Doctor Strange 2.
I like it better than both.
I just really like Doctor Strange 2, so that's tough for me to hear.
I think I almost would have liked to see Ant-Man or Sam Raimi direct this instead of Doctor Strange.
That's a fair argument, but I don't know. What I'll say, the more I've watched, and I liked Doctor Strange 2 a lot the first time I watched it. I've seen it about 3 or 4 times now. Mm-hmm. Each time I watch it, I like it more.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I still, that one, I don't feel the madness of the multiverse. I felt the Quantumania.
Fair. That's fair.
And that's where I'll leave it. Now, granted, if you look at my Letterboxd and rankings, they're both 3 stars.
Yeah, but we're getting into the nitty-gritty
now we're just in semantics.
Yeah.
I think if you did a tiered system, I think they're same tier.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. I would put Doctor Strange 2 at a higher tier. Mm-hmm. I would put this on a tier with Love and Thunder, with Ant-Man 2, with Thor 2.
See, I disagree with that.
Iron Man 2, the bottom. But I don't dislike any of those movies. I just think they're fine,
MCU tier ranking video?
We might have to. But yes, that is the review for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, guys. Thank you so much. And if you've seen the movie and you watched the review and you stuck around to the end of the show, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next week.